All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So today's video, we're going to do a Mr. Olympia prediction video now that we are under 4 weeks out from the 2020 Mr. Olympia. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys my top 6 predictions for the 2020 Men's Open Bodybuilding category of the Mr. Olympia. So to start out this video, let's go over the list of qualified competitors one more time. So far, I've got the names crossed out that have dropped out. So Rafael Brandao, James Hollingshead, Cedric McMillan, Nathan Diasha. I actually saw an interview where Nathan said he was doing the Olympia recently, but I'm pretty sure he's not even allowed to come to the United States right now. But I've still got his name crossed off anyway. So 5 guys, including Flex Lewis, were originally on this list, are no longer on this list, and this is your full list of qualified competitors for the 2020 Mr. Olympia. So this prediction video is going to be assuming that nobody else drops out that's in this lineup and nobody else is unable to get to the United States to compete. So this is a hopeful prediction video. And make sure you drop a comment in the comment section below. Who is your prediction to win the Mr. Olympia this year, and who is your prediction for the top 6? So my top 6, coming in 6th place, I've got Dexter Jackson. Dexter Jackson, he won the 2008 Mr. Olympia. Supposedly, this is going to be Dexter Jackson's last Mr. Olympia, last competition ever before he retires. Dexter Jackson is currently 50 years old. Now, Dexter is one of the best bodybuilders of all time, so I think it's highly unlikely he's going to be outside of the top 6 this year, especially considering the fact that this is his kind of swan song. This is the last competition he's ever doing, then he's retiring. So I think he's solidly within that top 6. I don't see him placing anywhere outside of the top 6, being Dexter, being the blade, bringing the conditioning that he brings. But last year, Dexter took 4th. So if you think about it, and I'm showing you guys the most recent physique update that Dexter has posted so far. He hasn't posted a whole lot of physique updates, but if you think about it, Dexter, he was behind Bonac, Hottie, and Brandon last year. Bonac, Hottie, and Brandon are all much younger than Dexter. And all 3 of them this year, I have placing within the top 6 ahead of Dexter because I think they're all going to improve. I think Brandon left a lot of room for improvement even after his victory last year. I think Bonac has room to improve, and I think Hottie has room to improve. And I think all of them, except for Hottie, were a little bit off. So Brandon and Bonac last year were a little bit off, and they still beat Dexter. Now, I'm assuming both of them are going to be in better shape this year, and they're still going to be in the top 6, putting them ahead of Dexter. Because as good as Dexter is, let's face it, he's not getting any younger, but top 6 at his last Olympia, I think that's going to be a solid prediction for Dexter. But I'm assuming they're going to do some kind of call-out with Dexter, Brandon, and Phil. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's your top 3, but that does mean those are the 3 former Mr. Olympia champions in that lineup. So coming in 5th, this might be a controversial one, so let me know in the comment section below if you guys agree or disagree with this. Coming in 5th, I think we're going to have Big Ramy in 5th. Now, the reason for this is I just feel the circumstances surrounding Big Ramy getting to the Olympia were kind of weird. I think Big Ramy's Olympia prep was interrupted with trying to compete in Europa, interrupted with testing positive for the virus. I don't think Ramy has had a full, real, committed Olympia prep like he would have starting at 16 weeks out or 14 weeks out. Ramy only knew that he had the special invite, I think it was, 6 or 7 weeks out from the Olympia? So I think realistically, Big Ramy has been prepping for the Olympia consistently for maybe a month and a half. That's what I honestly think. So I think Big Ramy, I don't think this is going to be his best Olympia showing. He didn't qualify on points. He didn't qualify on winning a show. So we don't know how he looked at all since the Arnold Classic where he took 3rd. We don't have any recent stage appearances to compare Big Ramy to. So honestly, I think his conditioning is going to be a little bit off. I don't think he's going to be 100% on just because, again, all the circumstances going into it. And if you think about it, when Ramy has time to prepare for an Olympia and he does a full Olympia prep, even when he has the time to do that and he has a fully dedicated Olympia prep, he still consistently has come in off ever since 2017. So as good as I think Ramy is and as much potential as I think Ramy has if he were ever to come in peeled, I've just got a bad feeling that this year is just not Big Ramy's year. And the most recent videos of Big Ramy is what you're watching right now from his friend Sam Samoy's Instagram page. And I just honestly, I just have a bad feeling this year. I just don't think this is going to be the year that Big Ramy is in the top 3. I'm glad to see him on the Olympia stage. I think Big Ramy needs to be in that lineup because he is one of the best bodybuilders in the world. And 5th at the Olympia, that makes him the number 5th best bodybuilder in the world. And this is the comparison that I want to see. And this is why I want to see Big Ramy on the Olympia stage. I want to see Hadi and Ramy compared in the same call. And I think, so that brings me to 4th. Now, I think that Bonac gets pushed to 4th here, and here's why. I think Hadi deserved to place 2nd at last year's Mr. Olympia. I think Hadi, this is no shade towards Bonac, I think Hadi is a much better bodybuilder than William Bonac, and I think that Hadi brings a much sharper level of conditioning than Bonac has brought to the past couple shows that he's done. And I think Hadi honestly deserves to be a top 3 Olympian. And he was top 3 last year, but again, I think he deserved to be 2nd, and you guys can probably predict who I think is going to be 1 and 2, and that's why I have Hadi in 3rd again in 2020. But I think Hadi's 3rd place placing this year will be still an improvement from last year because of the caliber of competition that he's placing 3rd within. So Bonac, I do have Bonac in 4th. I think Bonac, again, he's a great bodybuilder, but I think this year's Olympia lineup is just a caliber beyond William Bonac. And I just think this is the year that William Bonac gets pushed back. He's been in that top conversation for a while now, but he hasn't successfully, he's been knocking on the door, but he hasn't successfully kicked down that door of winning the Olympia. And I think this year is going to be the year that Bonac gets pushed back. Again, assuming that he makes it. So Bonac in 4th. In 3rd place, I'm predicting Hadi Chupin to be in the top 3 call-out. And in that top 3 is also going to be Brandon and Phil. And I think Hadi, honestly, the conditioning that he brings, the muscle that he's got packed onto his frame, even though he's a shorter guy, I think Hadi belongs in there with Phil Heath and Brandon Curry. That is how good I think Hadi Chupin is. That is how good I think Hadi Chupin looked at the 2019 Mr. Olympia compared to all the other men's open guys. I think Hadi, honestly, looking like he looked last year, I think he's better than Ramy. I think he's better than Bonac. I think he's better than Dexter. And notice, I think this is the first year that I don't have Rolly Winkler in my top 6. I think Rolly is going to wind up in 7th here. I think Hadi is better than Rolly. I think Hadi, when he brings that conditioning, he is one of the most dangerous bodybuilders on the planet in the Olympia lineup. And I think Hadi is going to beat a lot of big names this year, a lot of big names. And I think he's going to be pushing Phil and Brandon in that top 3 call-out. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Phil versus Brandon for 1 and 2. And I think that's going to be the call-out. That's going to be the final call-out of the show, is just Brandon and just Phil posing down for 1 and 2. So that brings me to 2nd, and you guys might be surprised by this. Now, this is a conditional 2nd place. I've got Brandon in 2nd. Now, this is conditional on one major thing. Phil Heath needs to come in 100% conditioned, no flaws. And by no flaws, I mean the midsection has to be fixed. If the midsection is fixed and he controls his midsection during his posing, I think he beats Brandon. I think he wins his 8th title. And again, if his conditioning is good as well. I think there's almost, it's really hard if Phil fixes his midsection for anybody to beat Phil. Brandon, Ramy, Dexter, Bonac, Hadi, any of them. If Phil doesn't have a problem with his gut, he is winning this year's Mr. Olympia, and Brandon is taking 2nd. So for the sake of this prediction video, I have Brandon in 2nd, again, conditionally, if Phil fixes the midsection. So obviously that would mean that Phil is my predicted winner for this year's Mr. Olympia. Now, again, that's only if he fixes the midsection. If he fixes the midsection, his conditioning is 100%. I think Phil is going to walk away with this. Now, if Phil doesn't fix the midsection, and let's even go as far to say it's really bad. Let's say it's still pretty bad, his midsection. I don't think the judges are going to give it to Phil if he comes in with a really blown out midsection. Honestly, I think they took the title away from him in 2018 because they had warned him multiple times. Control the midsection. You can't be having this gut. And he kept coming in with the midsection problem. So they took the title away from him in 2018, I believe, primarily because he wasn't listening to that criticism. And I think if he comes back in 2020 and he still doesn't listen. He still doesn't control it in the transitions. He doesn't hold it in the poses. I think they're going to penalize him, and I think they'll give it to Brandon. But I don't think Phil is stupid. I think Phil is smart, and he knows what he needs to do, and I think Phil is going to control that midsection, whether it's fixed or not. I think he's going to control it to an extent where it looks fixed, and I think he's going to walk away with that title with the midsection fixed. My prediction isn't just that Phil's going to win. It's that he fixed the midsection issue as well, or at least controls it enough that it looks like it is fixed. But if he does come in with a blown-out gut, I think Brandon takes it. So that's my prediction. Right now, I've got in 6th place, Dexter Jackson. In 5th place, Big Ramy. In 4th place, William Bonac. In 3rd place, Hadi Chupin. And in 4th place, Brandon Curry. Or in 2nd place, Brandon Curry. And in 1st place, Phil Heath. So let me know in the comment section below your guys' predictions for the 2020 Mr. Olympia. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet already. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And as always, Nick Strength and Power signing out.
We had Nick Power guy, whatever the hell his name is, ad after ad after ad.
Yeah, a couple other things. Nick Strength and Power, he reached his 1 million followers.
Hey, congrats, yes.
Shout out to Big Nick over there.
A lot of work in that.
Yeah, he went from like 996,000 to like 1 million in like 24 hours or something.
Really? People are excited
So
for
he
him.
was like really pushing to break that 1 million. I can't wait to see his, you get the...
This plaque or something,
yeah.
his award. Yeah, he's been reaching for that 1 million for a year. He's been talking about it, so we're happy for him.
Hopefully we'll get there at some point.
He says we are. He says we're next, so we're hoping.
Yeah.
Thanks to all of you guys.
The goon lighting over there, as Nick Strength and Power likes to call it. Definitely goon lighting. Bunch of bullshit, half natty lighting. And I love every second of it. So every picture you see from me from now on will be standing under the goon lighting.